Hello learners, welcome back to my channel Shraddha's Physics. In this lecture we will see the Bragg's law for the X-ray diffraction. So let us start with the X-ray diffraction. Sir William Lawrence Bragg and his father Sir William Henry Bragg, they studied the diffraction of X-rays in detail and used a crystal of rock salt to diffract X-rays and succeeded in measuring the wavelength of X-rays. So we can say that Bragg's law is used for measuring the wavelength of X-rays. So to know the wavelength of X-rays, they consider a crystal structure. So let me tell you why we have considered X-rays, or why Bragg considered X-rays, because these X-rays are used for the producing diffraction effect in crystal due to the wavelength of X-rays is comparable to the interatomic distances. That is, we can say that suppose here these are some lattice points. We can say that these are some lattice points. What are the lattice points? These are the periodic arrangement of the points in the space, periodic and regular arrangement of points in the space. I have already told you that if I will join this any two lattice point, then in between this distance is known as the interplanar distance. And similarly, we can consider this plane, and this is also can be considered as D. Or similarly, if I will consider, suppose let me draw more lattice point. So if I will consider this to be plane, then this can be also considered to be the interplanar distance. So this lattice point sometimes may be considered as this lattice to be atoms or molecules or ions. So basically these are the, if I will consider any plane, so in between this plane, the distance between these two planes is considered to be D. Now for the X-rays, suppose we will consider X-rays produced by the acceleration of the electron through a potential difference suppose B and having the wavelength suppose lambda. Now we can write the energy to be E into V. E is the charge of the electron and V is the potential difference. Now this energy can also be written as, according to Einstein, this is your h nu, where h is the Planck's constant and nu is the frequency. And also this can be written as you know, the velocity of light equal to the mu into lambda. This is the product of the frequency and the wavelength. So here we can write nu will be equal to c by lambda. So here this is nothing but sc by lambda. So Eb equal to sc by lambda, or this expression can be written as lambda will be equal to sc divided by Eb. Okay, this is sc divided by Eb. Now if I put the value of this h, that is the Planck's constant, that is suppose 6.62 into 10 raised power minus 34 into, you know, the velocity of light is 3 into 10 power 8 divided by the charge of the electron is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. Suppose here we will consider the potential will give, suppose this is 10 kilovolt, or this is to be 10 into kilovolt means 10 power 3. So this will be 10 power 4 volt. So here if I will multiply this 10 power 4, then as a whole this lambda will be equal to, this is just near about 1.24 into 10 power minus 10 meter, or this can be simply written as 1.24 angstrom, because 1 angstrom is 10 power minus 10 meter. So basically we can say that this wavelength, it can be sometimes for the X-ray we can write like this is just near about 1 angstrom we can say. So this wavelength is comparable to the interatomic spacing of an actual crystal. Suppose for example if I will consider a sodium chloride crystal, in case of sodium chloride, the atomic spacing or the interatomic spacing, it can be considered as 2.8 10 power minus 10 meter, or this can be simply written as 2.8 angstrom. So we can say that this is actually 2 times of this X-rays, but still we can consider it as it is just comparable with the wavelength of the X-ray. Now the question is that why will not consider visible light, UV light, etc. Now suppose for example if I will consider now for the visible light, you know the wavelength is near about 400 to 700 nanometer, and for the infrared this is just 700 to 10 power 5 nanometer, and for the microwave this is 10 power 5 to, this is 10 power 5 to 10 power 8 nanometer. And similarly for if I write for the radio wave, for the radio waves it is greater than 10 power 8 nanometers. So now you can see that for this visible or infrared or microwave or the radio wave, this wavelength is quite larger value. It has the quite larger value as compared to that of the X-ray. In case of the X-rays, this is 1 angstrom, or you can simply write it as this is near about 0.01 to 10 nanometer. For the X-ray, this is 0.01 to 10 nanometer. But here you can say that, see, 400 to 700 nanometer in case of visible, and for your radio waves, this is somehow greater than 10 power 8 nanometer. So this wavelength is very large as compared to the interatomic spacing. So we cannot use this light. Now if I'll consider the gamma rays, why gamma rays are not used? Because if I'll consider the gamma rays, then for this gamma rays it is less than 1 nanometer, or this is, we can say that this is 0.1 angstrom. Now we can see that this wavelength is 1/10 of that of the X-ray. So gamma rays are not used to study the crystal structure, as the wavelength of the gamma rays is much smaller than that of the X-ray. So gamma rays are diffracted through very small angles which cannot be conveniently used. So a crystal diffract X-rays because X-rays are scattered elastically. Elastically scattering means no energy is absorbed by either the particle. So X-ray is scattered elastically without the change of wavelength by the charged particle of the atom inside the crystal. So we are using X-ray. Now let us come back to our topic. Let us consider two homogeneous parallel X-rays of wavelength, suppose lambda. It is incident on a crystal at a glancing angle theta. Now here you can see that these are suppose two parallel beams. This is suppose AB and this one suppose DE. These are two parallel beams and these are the lattice points. You can see here these are the lattice points. This is one plane, and here these are also some lattice points. These are in the another plane, and the interatomic spacing between the two planes, this is suppose D. Now if I will consider this AB ray and this DE ray to be incident on this plane, suppose by this angle is suppose theta. This angle is the incident. This angle is between the incident ray and this lattice plane. Now it will again reflect in this way, that is suppose BC point. This one is B. Here it is A. And again for the second plane, that is for this DE ray, you can see there when it will get reflected, then it will goes on this way, that is suppose EF line. This point is F, this line is F and this point is E. So this in this way it will get reflect. This point is D. Now let us draw two perpendicular. Suppose this is your BP is the perpendicular is drawn and BQ is the perpendicular is drawn. BP is the perpendicular on DE and BQ is the perpendicular on EF. Now you can see that in between this ABC and in between and ABC and for DEF, the path difference, if we want to calculate the path difference between these two waves, one wave is, let me change the color, you can see one wave for this ABC and another wave for your DEF. If you want to calculate the path difference, then you can see the path difference, that is the extra path is this one, that is AEQ. This extra path is AEQ. Now this AEQ is nothing but, this is your PEQ. This one is P. This path, this one is P. Okay, this is your PEQ. Now we can write it as, this will be this path difference as, this is PE plus EQ. This is the total path difference. So in this triangle PBE, in this perpendicular triangle, now we will calculate. Before that, let us see first. Since you can see that this ABP, this one ABP, this angle is 90 degree because BP is perpendicular to the DE. So this total angle is 90 degree. But this angle is theta. So here we can write it as, this angle will be 90 minus theta. Is that clear? In this case you can see ABP angle, this is your, since it is a perpendicular, this total angle is 90 degree. But since we are considering this angle to be theta, then the remaining part, that will be, this angle will be 90 minus theta. So here we will write this as 90 minus theta. Now you can see that this particular angle, this is your 90 minus theta. 90 minus theta. Now again see, suppose this angle, okay, this total angle, this angle, it is also 90 degree. This angle, it is also 90 degree. Since this is 90 degree, so 90 minus 90 minus theta, 90 minus 90 minus theta, you can see 90 minus 90, they will get cancelled, so minus minus becomes plus, so this will be becomes plus theta. So this angle, now it will be plus theta. So let me just erase. So this angle, now you can see here, this angle is theta. Similarly, the incident angle and the reflected angle, it is also equal, that is theta, suppose. Similarly, you can consider here, this total angle is 90 degree, so this part is your 90 minus theta, and again this angle is your 90 degree, so 90 minus 90 minus theta, then this will be again theta. So now come to our topic. So in this case, you can see from this geometry, this PBE angle, yes, in this PBE triangle, in triangle PBE, we can write sin theta will be equal to sin theta, that is equal to, sin theta is P by H. Since sin theta equal to P by H, this front side is PE. So this is PE divided by H is BE. So this is PE divided by BE. So this PE will be equal to, BE means here, this distance is nothing but the interplanar distance, that is D. So this will be D into sin theta. Similarly, in the triangle BEQ, in this triangle we can write triangle QBE. Again the sin theta will be equal to, sin theta will be equal to QE divided by BE. So this will be QE divided by BE. Or here this BE again D sin theta. So we can write QE will be equal to D sin theta. Now from this expression you can see that this total path difference is PE plus EQ, and that is equal to D sin theta plus D sin theta. This will becomes 2D sin theta. So here, this is the 2D sin theta. Okay, P plus EQ, the total path difference is 2D sin theta. Now if the path difference 2D sin theta is equal to the integral multiple of the wavelength of X-ray, that is n lambda, then the constructive interference will occur between the reflected beam and they will reinforce with each other. So the intensity of the reflected beam is maximum. So we can write it as, for the constructive interference, if I will consider, this 2D sin theta will be equal to n lambda, where n equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on. This is basically known as the Bragg's law, and it gives the condition for the reflection of the X-ray from the series of the atomic layers in a given plane. So suppose if I will consider this 2D sin theta equal to n lambda, now this can be written as sin theta equal to n lambda by 2D. Since 2D sin theta equal to n lambda, we can write sin theta equal to, simply we will divide this 2D term. So sin theta will be equal to n lambda divided by 2D, or simply this theta will be equal to sin inverse of n lambda divided by 2D. If I put the value of n equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on, if I first put n equal to 1, then you can see theta will be equal to sin inverse 1 into lambda by 2D. And again if I put n equal to 2, then sin inverse of 2 into lambda by 2D. This is the theta value. Again if I put n equal to 3, theta will be equal to sin inverse 3 into lambda by 2D and so on. So here you can say that for a given setup with the monochromatic radiation, the wavelength lambda is fixed. Okay, the lambda is fixed. It has only a particular set of solution, and here you can see that these are the theta value from this expression. We can say that the first, second, third order, third, so on, etc. reflection. This shows that the crystal cannot give rise to reflection at any angle, but only at those discrete angles indicated in equation 5. So you can see that this theta has the fixed value. That is, when n equal to 1, it has only the value sin inverse 1 into lambda by 2D. When n equal to 2, it has this value and so on. So it will reflect only in a certain angle. So Bragg reflection can occur only for the wavelength when lambda will be less or equal to 2D. So this is the Bragg's condition, that the wavelength should be, this wavelength, since sin theta equal to 2d sin theta equal to 2d sin theta equal to n lambda, if I will consider this for this sin theta value, so that lambda will be less than equal to 2d. This is the condition for the Bragg, because you know the wavelength should be comparable with the atomic spacing, and it should be, here we have, this is the condition that the wavelength should be lesser or equal to 2d. It means that the visible light wavelength cannot be used in the diffraction, but electron and neutron beam can also taken instead of X-rays. Okay, X-ray can be used in case of electron and neutron, they can also be used for the crystal diffraction. Now, the Bragg law is a consequence of the periodicity of the space lattice. The law doesn't refer to the arrangement or basis of atoms associated with each lattice point. So here you can see that this Bragg's law, it is a consequence of the periodicity of the space lattice. That is, the periodicity of the space lattice, it was given by the Bragg, and this law doesn't refer to the arrangement or the basis of atoms associated with each lattice point. That is, we can say that the arrangement of atoms, or we can say that the basis of atoms at any lattice point, if I consider these are the lattice point, the atom associated with it or the basis of atoms associated with this lattice point, this was not given by the Bragg. And the composition of this basis, it determines the relative intensity of the various order n of the diffraction. N is the number of diffraction, order of the diffraction from a given set of parallel planes. Now we will see the limitations of the Bragg's law. It doesn't give any information about the intensity of the scattering for the spatial distribution of the electrons in the unit cell. That is, in a unit cell, the distribution of electrons, spatial means the space distribution. The distribution of the electrons in a unit cell cannot be determined by using the Bragg's law. And again, it only considers the lattice planes for the reflection of the X-rays. The interaction of the X-rays with the constituent of the crystal are not taken into the account. So here, in case of the extra diffraction, that is, Bragg used only the lattice plane for the reflection of the X-rays, but the interaction of X-rays with the constituent of the crystal, that is, the atoms or molecules, the interaction of X-rays with the atoms or molecules, it is not taken into account. And again, the assumption has been made that the X-rays having wavelength of the order of 1 angstrom can be reflected from the planes of the crystal formed by the atoms, ions or molecules having the spacing of the same order of magnitude, that is of 1 angstrom, which is not possible. That is, in this case, here we have considered that since our wavelength of light of, that is for the X-ray wavelength, the X-ray wavelength is 1 angstrom, so only the atom having the crystal having the interatomic space distance 1 angstrom only used in case of the XRD or the X-ray diffraction. But if in any case the interatomic spacing between the crystal or the lattices, it will exceed 1 angstrom or it is less than this 1 angstrom, then this XRD cannot be used. So here you can see that for this condition, that is, lambda should be lesser equal to 2d, that is, lambda is 1 angstrom, that is fixed. X-ray for the wavelength, for the X-rays, the wavelength is 1 angstrom, it should be lesser equal to 2d. So these are the limitations of the Bragg's law. So this is all about the Bragg's law and its limitations. If you have any doubt, can ask me in the comment section. Just try to solve some question based on the Bragg's law. This is all for today. If you like the video, hit the like button, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.